Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Dear ones, I am Archangel Michael. This week, I've been here almost every day. I really like being here, passing on valuable information on your journey or some scolding from time to time. I really enjoy being here. This is work, not orchestrated and planned by me. Each soul that is created, I already said this here, has a function, has a predisposition to specific tasks. Many of you are old souls here on the planet. They are ancient souls, from the great civilizations of the past, who arrived here and went through the whole problem of the descent of the planet. Of course, everything is very well planned by Father or Mother God. Nothing that happened on this planet was by chance, nor was it a surprise, for what God the Father or Mother had planned. We can only say that the agreements were broken. And the beings who came here, to keep them in the third dimension, were extremely intoxicated by the beauty and richness of this planet. And they broke all the agreements that had been made. But that's not what I want to talk about here, you already know this story. I want to return to the souls. So, both the souls that have been here for millennia, and the souls that arrived here, to help in this process, each one was very well analyzed and planned for this awakening. I can say and affirm to you that not all evolved souls, even some that came here, awakened. Many allowed themselves to be consumed by the duality of this third dimension. Unfortunately, being evolved souls, they intended to manipulate the inhabitants of this planet, along with those other souls, who were already here with this objective. Where am I going with this whole story? When I say here that I created an army, I'm not speaking, as you say, from lip service, without any planning. After all, I am a general, and as such I want to know, and need to know, each of my soldiers. So each soul was strategically brought into this group. Each one of you, who got here, didn't get there of your own free will. You were meticulously guided here. So when I say, that I know each one of you, this is the purest truth, because each soul was fully observed before being sent here. I don't usually raise armies to defeat. I know exactly the soldiers I have. Everything I've said here still stands. I have the first rows, which are reserved, for those who have actually come from a long time. They are souls, extremely important for the planet, they are souls, who have taken prominent positions on the planet. What I mean by this? Each soul, who has been here a long time, has lived many lives and some were extremely important in their time, always applying something that satisfied the light. I'll give you the story of Saint Germain as an example. He has had many lives on the planet, he ascended, today he is an ascended master, extremely powerful. Owner of one of the most powerful rays in existence. What I mean by this? Many of you will still be surprised by your journey. Then many may think, but why, I don't remember anything. The ego. Why tell the truth now? Little by little, you will know who you were, but you are still here in the third dimension. So why know now? To puff up your chest and say, I was so and so. I was so and so. Right now, it's not a good time. Because the ego can break down many barriers that you are building. So there's no place here for you to know a lot. That's why many of you can't remember anything, they have no power, they can't remember what they are capable of doing. Exactly for this reason, so that the ego does not interfere in your path. We cannot allow that at this moment, you who are that soul, who is there in the front row, lose this position because of ego. So I ask, what is the big advantage of knowing who you were, what changes? Anything, it only inflates the ego. Because what you did in past lives is done, there is no changing it. Whether as characters from the light, or as characters from the non-light. You were not saints. And I can say that many had very complicated incarnations, in relation to light. It's all part of learning, it's all part of the soul knowing both sides and making a decision, where it wants to go. Don't worry about possible powers you may have. At this point, I would say that none of them will apply to you. The less you expose yourselves out there, the better, the safer. So some souls hear others talk, that they do this, participate in that, go to that place. I already said here, a lot of things are lies, there's a lot of ego talking there. Who has their powers, who receives messages, who does astral travel, who does astral projection, he doesn't publish what he does. This is ego. He who talks a lot, who does, happens, passes, too much ego. You need to demonstrate at all times that you are different. I'm not saying that everything the person says is a lie. There are people and people. There are people who live the situations, but want to tell them. Why? Ego, pure ego. And there are those who don't experience anything, but make a point of saying that they lived. I can say that this is the vast majority. To show themselves superior to others, who say nothing happens to them. So why are you going to know more things to inflate your ego even more? For what? It won't do any good, the ego you inflate is enough. So I would say to you that this is the time to keep your mouth shut, the moment is for everyone to live their own life. Exchanging experiences is not telling everything that happens. Exchanging experiences is showing your elevation, it is overcoming an obstacle. This is telling experiences. It's giving strength to those who don't have strength. This is exchanging love, give a friendly word to those below, this is sharing love. Now share what you saw, stop seeing, where you went, stopped going, this is ego, nothing more than ego. So, since we are talking a lot here about exchanging, sending messages, texts, videos, it's time to keep your mouth shut. What happens to you is up to you. Why, what do you have to tell? To show off, or to inflate your ego? So that you feel superior to others. How do others see you? I can tell you that many people don't believe what you say. I can say that many people throw on themselves a load of immense envy. And if you are not balanced, you will receive this burden. So I ask, why poke the wolf with a short stick? Let's start learning, eliminating the ego. I'm not saying here that you don't comment on anything else. You can comment on experiences, how you overcame something. Not what you see, what you do, what you feel. For what? Ego. Pure ego. Every soul that is here, in this army of mine, the vast majority of them have many powers. I did not bring into my army foolish souls and lazy souls. I know very well who I brought here. Even those who are there, in the last rows, because they are starting to learn about my decisions, everyone is like that. Of course there are some that I have to stab a few times with my sword to get them to walk, because laziness is sometimes greater than will. But I can say that they are prepared souls. Unfortunately, what is in charge is the human mind, and you have thousands of defects. So sometimes, I need to give a little push, so that the soul wakes up. When I ask you to go off the grid, because I like bold souls. I like souls that are and seek to be independent, that they trust the invisible that is around them. Not in the people around you. Understand, my brothers, I see you all together. When I form that army and you stand together, I know each one where they are. And be sure, I do not allow souls who are not yet ready to remain in the front rows. I know how to organize my army very well. So the one who thinks he is the ready, the powerful and is nothing like that, I simply push him to the end of the army, up front he doesn't stay. Be careful with your ego. In the same way, those who are extremely humble and who don't think they have so much power and stay behind, I push there for the first fares, because it is a soul that has to be there. Now, what is the difference between the first rose and the last? Preparation of the soul, that's all. Because as I said, at the beginning of this story, all the souls in my army were meticulously separated. So they all have, as souls, the same capacity. The separation I make is human consciousness and soul. So those who are actually ready, who know how to follow the path, stay at the front. Those who are entering now, stay back there. Hence the differentiation, and as you evolve, you grow, you change your position in my army. I hope that by the day of the big battle, which actually won't be a battle the day of your ascension, everyone will be on the same level.